The way this episode discusses mental health and mental health diagnosis is brilliant, through the framing device of Ginger's poem being about a girl who was so sad she wanted to be gone and then does disappear. It's very obvious what the implications are, but it's also obvious Ginger isn't depressed and just wrote a story she thought was cool and is really well written. But at the same time, it's objectively good her teacher cares enough to take her poem seriously and be concerned, because if Ginger did feel the same way that is shown off in her poem, it would be really serious. But this sadly leads to Ginger getting thrown before an opportunistic school psych and making her relationship with the people around her more awkward. Some of those people are just concerned, but others aren't. But it starts to give Ginger a really negative complex, where she doesn't have a mental illness, but feels like she's kind of being forced into having one. This episode is brilliant, because it simultaneously critiques flaws in how mental health diagnosis happens, especially at the time, taking one piece of convincing evidence above what Ginger herself actually says, but at the same time, doesn't critique Mussorgsky or her friends for being concerned, or stuff like therapy for being helpful if Ginger was actually dealing with depression. It just showcases that talking about stuff like this at this age can be complicated for so many reasons, and labels like mental illness or having a problem can get thrown around for any reason and can lead to kids having complexes they shouldn't have. The episode also showcases how hard it can be to creatively express yourself as a kid, how you may write something that is super well written and represents maybe some aspect of what you're feeling, but instead of it getting appreciated, people take it in a concerning way, which once again isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes kids do write things that are concerning and people end up being right about that. But I do think we have all had moments as children where our words, actions, or even writings are taken in the worst possible way, when kids just really don't understand how the world works or how serious, deeper connotations to things are.